So, have you ever caught yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media or maybe flipping through a magazine and you just suddenly stop, completely captivated by a perfectly sculpted muscular physique? Look, we've all been there. It's an incredibly common, almost automatic human experience. But have you ever actually stopped to ask yourself exactly why that happens? Why are we so universally drawn to and captivated by muscles? I mean, is it just a byproduct of modern gym culture and superhero movies, or is there a much, much deeper, ancient story written directly into our DNA? Well, hello, and welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with us today because we are going to decode a truly fascinating, totally eye-opening 2019 study out of the University of Texas. It was published in the journal Evolutionary Psychology, and it takes a comprehensive, incredibly detailed look into physical attraction, specifically focusing on the exact muscle groups that women find most attractive in men. Okay, let's dive right into this and uncover the incredible biological secrets hiding right beneath the surface of human attraction.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. First up, we'll unpack the evolutionary mystery. Second, we're going to talk about a concept called honest signals. Third, the part you've been waiting for, we will rank the top 5 muscles. Fourth, we'll explore something called the perception gap. And finally, we will wrap it all up with a summary and a quick disclaimer. Let's get to it. Section 1. The evolutionary muscle mystery. To really truly understand modern physical attraction, we actually have to completely remove ourselves from the modern world for a minute. We have to look right past the heavy dumbbells, the fancy protein shakes, the perfectly lit fitness influencers on our feeds, and we need to look directly at our raw biology. I want you to consider this framing question. Is our attraction to a muscular physique just a fleeting modern trend fueled by Hollywood and gym culture, or is it a deeply rooted ancient instinct? Well, the research we are digging into today overwhelmingly points to the latter. Our aesthetic preferences, they aren't just random or arbitrary. They are actually profound survival mechanisms that have been painstakingly passed down through countless generations.
Let's mentally travel back in time, say 10,000 plus years ago. Picture it. The environment our ancestors lived in was wildly unpredictable and, honestly, incredibly dangerous. There were no 24-hour supermarkets, no modern medicine, and absolutely no heavy locked doors to keep you safe at night. Surviving apex predators and hostile rival groups was just a daily reality. It was a tough, brutal landscape. And in that landscape, physical strength was definitely not a luxury. It was an absolute prerequisite for survival. A formidable, muscular male could effectively hunt large, fast game, bring back vital, life-saving calories to his family. He could also physically defend his mate and his offspring from sudden, violent threats. So over thousands and thousands of generations, women who naturally preferred stronger, more capable mates had a much, much higher likelihood of their children actually surviving to adulthood. This process, which biologists call intersexual selection, literally hardwired the female brain to view highly developed musculature not just as something nice to look at, but as a subconscious guarantee, a guarantee of safety, resource acquisition, and top-tier genetics. Fast forward to today, and that ancient instinct remains fully intact within us, presenting itself simply as what we call physical attraction.
Moving on to Section 2. Muscles as honest signals. So, if muscles are essentially a giant billboard advertising survival fitness, do all muscles send the exact same message? The short answer is no way. And this brings us to a really fundamental, absolutely crucial concept in evolutionary biology called honest signals. Now, an honest signal is exactly what it sounds like. It's a biological trait that tells the absolute, undeniable truth about an organism's underlying health. And the kicker, it is literally impossible to fake. To understand this, think about a male peacock for a second. Think about those lavish, massive, colorful tail feathers. Those feathers don't help the peacock fly. In fact, they literally weigh him down and make him a giant, bright target for predators. So, why do female peacocks love them so much? Well, because growing and maintaining those extravagant feathers requires a massive surplus of energy, perfect nutrition, and an immune system totally free of parasites. It's the peacock's way of proving, hey, look at me. I am so incredibly healthy and genetically superior that I can actually afford to waste energy on this massive, ridiculous display. For human males, building and maintaining heavy muscle mass acts in the exact same way. Muscle tissue is metabolically super expensive. It literally burns calories just existing on your body. Having excess muscle proves you have access to abundant food, you're free of debilitating disease, and you possess excellent metabolic health.
But the researchers from the Texas University study pointed out something incredibly brilliant. They realized that not all muscles carry the same weight as an honest signal, mostly because some are much, much harder to build and reveal than others. Take the biceps or the pectorals, for example. With a little bit of targeted resistance training and lifting heavy things, a man can pump these up relatively easily. But then, you have the hard-to-build muscles. We're talking specifically about the abdominals and the obliques, the core muscles. Having a clearly visible six-pack is exceptionally difficult. You can't simply build the muscle beneath the surface, you have to strip away almost all of your visceral and subcutaneous body fat to actually make them visible to the world. And to do that, that requires a level of strict nutritional discipline, amazing metabolic efficiency, and overall systemic health that absolutely cannot be faked. You can't just buy a six-pack, right? Therefore, these hard-to-build muscles are considered the ultimate, gold standard honest signals of pristine genetic quality and overall health.
All right, Section 3, the moment we have been building up to, the top 5 muscles.
To figure out exactly which muscle groups contribute the absolute most to bodily attractiveness, the researchers gathered 503 women with an average age of 25 and had them meticulously evaluate 14 different male muscle groups. Coming in at number 5, we have the shoulders, specifically the deltoids. And when we look at this through that evolutionary lens we just talked about, it makes total sense. Broad, rounded shoulders create that highly coveted V-taper, which visually just screams physical formidability. For our ancient ancestors, shoulder strength was the literal foundation for essential survival movements. Think about it. Whether it was throwing a spear to hunt, climbing up trees to escape danger, or carrying heavy loads of food or even children over incredibly long distances, the shoulders were always heavily engaged. A well-developed set of deltoids subconsciously tells the female brain that this individual is a deeply capable provider. Now, if you want to build these at home without a bunch of expensive gym weights, try incorporating pike push-ups. You get into a standard push-up position, but then you walk your feet inward so your body forms an upside-down V shape. By lifting your hips high in the air and lowering the top of your head to the floor, you shift the load directly onto your deltoids. You can also just grab heavy household items like big water jugs or a backpack stuffed with thick books to perform slow, controlled lateral raises. Just make sure to keep your core nice and tight throughout the whole movement.
Let's move right along to number 4, the chest, or the pectorals. A thick, well-developed chest has pretty much universally been considered a hallmark of traditional masculinity across cultures. Evolutionarily speaking, the chest muscles are heavily involved in direct upper body physical combat. The ability to violently push an opponent away with explosive force or to deliver a devastating life-saving strike relies so much on pectoral power. So a large chest basically acts as a biological shield and a weapon all rolled into one. To really develop your chest at home, you need to focus heavily on push-up variations. Standard push-ups are great, don't get me wrong, but you should also mix in wide grip push-ups to really stretch those muscle fibers. Also, try decline push-ups, where you place your feet elevated securely on a sturdy chair or the edge of your couch. The absolute key point here is a concept called time under tension. Don't just rush through them. Lower yourself down slowly, under total control, and then explode up. That will truly activate those chest muscles without ever needing to step foot in a gym.
Revealing number 3, we have the abdominals. Now, remember our deep dive into honest signals just a few minutes ago? This is where that concept perfectly, beautifully aligns with the data. The abdominals are ranked incredibly high because a visible six-pack is perhaps the single most difficult visual trait to maintain. Evolutionarily, having low visceral fat means an absence of metabolic diseases, a highly functioning immune system, and an incredible ability to manage resources efficiently. It proves the body is absolutely thriving rather than hoarding fat out of a starvation panic. To target your core effectively at home, focus on movements like planks. Try holding your body perfectly straight like a board for 60 solid seconds, and while you do it, actively squeeze your glutes and your core as hard as you can. You can also perform bicycle crunches, really focusing on the slow twisting motion to engage those side obliques and lying leg raises. But remember the golden rule we discussed. Revealing your abs requires keeping your body fat in check through your diet. You literally cannot out-train a bad diet when it comes to seeing your abdominals.
Coming in hot at number 2, we have the biceps. The biceps are perhaps the most direct, intuitive, and culturally recognized visual symbol of upper body strength on the planet. I mean, think about it. When someone asks you to make a muscle, you flex your bicep, right? Every single day of early human life involved lifting heavy stones, pulling game out of traps, carrying children, and building shelters. That curling, pulling motion powered by the biceps was utterly essential for virtually all manipulative, hands-on tasks. Training biceps at home can feel a bit tricky without dumbbells, but you absolutely can do it. You can perform inverted rows by lying underneath a very sturdy, and I mean sturdy, dining room table, grabbing the edge and pulling your chest up to the wood. Alternatively, you can use a heavy resistance band or just grab that heavy backpack by the top handle to perform standing curls. The secret point to home bicep growth is the mind-muscle connection. You can't just swing your arms, you have to actively squeeze the bicep as hard as you possibly can at the very top of the movement. Okay, now what's really interesting about this slide is, well, many people assume our number one spot would be the chest or the big arms, but the data revealed a massive surprise. Number one is the glutes. Yes, the muscles of the buttocks. According to the study, nearly 80% of the women surveyed voted the glutes as a major top-tier factor in male attractiveness. Why? Because the gluteus maximus is actually the largest, most powerful muscle in the entire human body. Our unique ability to generate explosive power, to sprint away from danger, to leap over obstacles, and to explosively lift heavy objects off the ground originates entirely in the glutes and the posterior chain. Strong legs are the literal engine of human movement and endurance hunting. While guys often obsess in the mirror over the top half of their body, women's evolved instincts correctly identify the lower body powerhouse as the true, honest indicator of profound physical capability. To build a truly powerful posterior chain at home, prioritize deep, slow bodyweight squats. And I mean deep. Make sure your hips drop down below your knees. Incorporate walking lunges across your living room and perform glute bridges. For those, you lie flat on your back, bend your knees, and drive your hips straight up to the ceiling, pushing strictly through your heels, and make sure to pause and squeeze at the top.
Moving to Section 4. This is fascinating. The gender perception gap.
So the researchers didn't just ask women what they wanted, they also flipped the script and asked men what they thought women wanted. And the disconnect between the genders, it is absolutely staggering. And this brilliantly illustrates the divide. Take a look at the charts here. The orange boxes represent the muscle sizes that women actually find attractive. The yellow boxes, on the other hand, represent the muscle sizes that men believe are the ideal. Across the board, for every single muscle group we looked at, the yellow boxes are significantly, noticeably higher than the orange ones. Men consistently believe they need to be much, much larger than women actually prefer. This gap is especially massive when you look at the upper body muscles like the chest, the shoulders, and the arms. Men are out there aiming for this cartoonish, hulking, massive physique, fully believing it is the golden key to attraction. But as you can see, women's actual preferences are far more moderate. They favor a highly functional, athletic, and well-proportioned build over sheer massive bulk.
So we have to ask, why does this massive perception gap even exist? Well, evolutionary biology gives us a pretty elegant answer by dividing natural selection into two distinct pressures. First, we have intersexual selection. This is what we've been talking about, women evaluating men. As we've learned, women are looking for honest signals of health, functional strength, and a reliable partner who can provide and protect. They want a capable, healthy athlete. Second, though, we have intrasexual competition, and this is men competing directly against other men for status and resources. In the ancient world, looking massive, getting incredibly wide and bulky was a very effective way to intimidate rival males and ideally avoid physical conflict entirely. So when a man in the gym strives to look like a massive 250-pound bodybuilder, he might genuinely tell himself he is doing it for female attention. But his subconscious biology is actually driving him to look as physically intimidating as possible to other men. It is quite literally a biological defense mechanism. Men are optimizing for dominance and visual threat, while women are optimizing for a healthy, functionally capable, and safe partner.
And that brings us to Section 5. Let's do a summary and cover an important disclaimer.
We have covered a tremendous amount of fascinating ground today, looking deep into the mirror of our evolutionary past. I really want to highlight this powerful quote directly from the researchers of the Texas study, Durkee and colleagues. They state, "Muscles help to increase the success in several survival-related tasks, and therefore are great candidates to serve as honest, costly cues of mate quality." This just beautifully, perfectly summarizes the entire premise of our explainer. When you or anyone else admires a fit, healthy physique, it is not just shallow vanity or being obsessed with modern aesthetics. Not at all. It is an ancient, highly sophisticated biological mechanism doing exactly what it was designed by nature to do, identifying a healthy, robust, and capable human being who is built to survive and thrive in a harsh world.
So what should you actually take away from all of this data? What can you do today? First, understand that our physical preferences are deeply, deeply tied to ancient survival. If you're pursuing fitness, try to shift your mindset away from just trying to get as huge and bulky as possible. The data clearly, undeniably shows that extreme size is not what women actually prefer. Instead, focus on functional fitness and holistic overall health. Prioritize those hard-to-maintain honest signals we talked about. This means paying close attention to your cardiovascular health, maintaining a healthy body fat percentage so you can reveal that strong core, and building a powerful, explosive lower body. Seriously, remember to train those glutes at home using the squat and lunge techniques we discussed. At the end of the day, train your body to be functionally capable, incredibly healthy, and full of energy, rather than just training to look like an intimidating giant.
Now, before we completely wrap things up, it is very important that we provide a clear medical disclaimer.
The insights we've discussed throughout this explainer are based on sociological and evolutionary biology research. They provide a truly fascinating framework for understanding human attraction, but they absolutely do not guarantee any specific effects, results, or changes in your personal life or physical development. Furthermore, you must always consult with a medical professional, a doctor, or a certified fitness expert before beginning or significantly altering any physical training routine, diet plan, or home workout regimen. Your personal health and safety are paramount and must always come first.
I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative question to ponder the very next time you step into a gym, roll out a yoga mat at home, or just look at yourself in the mirror. Knowing what you know now about ancient instincts, about those powerful, honest signals, and especially about that massive perception gap between the genders, are you training your body for true, functional health and longevity, or are you subconsciously just training to intimidate the competition? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into evolutionary psychology. Keep asking amazing questions, keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.